Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Anime Sekai Podcast. I'm your host, Mikan, and I'm here with my favorite person.
Ichigo here. What's up, guys? You're my favorite person, too. Join us this week as we discuss women in anime. Hey guys, welcome back to Anime Sekai Podcast. This week, Mikan and I are going to be discussing our takes on women's roles in anime.
And you, as someone who likes shoujo anime, why
hmm
don't you start with your take on, particularly in the shoujo realm, because I have plenty to say about shonen anime and females in shonen anime.
I mean, typically what I see in shoujo type anime, mind you, here lately it seems like it has been changing, but in the past what I've seen is like typical main female character who is either the beautiful popular type girl who everybody loves and everybody just falls for her and everybody wants to be her, and then you have the other side who is the quiet background character who doesn't really get a lot of attention until the main guy character takes notice and then shows some sort of interest in her, wants to get to know her. Here lately, you see kind of different types of female characters. You see some that, even though they are the main character of their story, they have that strong personality, but is still kind of meek. They don't want you to know what they're thinking, or they don't really believe in romance. And then you've got the opposite side. You've got that background character who is still the main character, but almost gives stalker ish type vibes.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is there's one anime in particular that I'm thinking of that is on High Dive, and it's called Kubo-san Won't Let Me Be Invisible. And it's this slice of life shoujo anime. The main guy character is one of those like background characters. Not a lot of people notice him at all. I
hmm
mean, that's his role, is he's pretty much a background character. He could be in a room full of people, and this is actually played out in the anime, but he's in class and the teacher will call him out and he'll say, "Oh, I'm here." And instead of the teacher being like, "Okay, you're here," he's like, "Hey, has anybody seen so and so?"
What? Wow, that's insane.
And he basically gets ignored in the anime, which is
Okay. So
he's
he's
used
invisible.
to. He's invisible, but he is used to it. And he's kind of okay with that sort of lifestyle until the main female character, who's very popular, she's kind of showing that she's a little meek. She doesn't really want people to know that she kind of has a crush on this guy, but she likes messing with him. She
Hmm.
gets really interested in him and thus kind of brings main a little bit of main character energy out of him, but basically she is kind of playing both sides. So I think it depends on the anime type, but there's a lot of different, now I will say there are a lot of
Okay.
different anime female roles
They're
that you
not all like
get.
cliche.
I mean, yeah, you have some
Yeah, they're
cliche
still
female
probably
characters.
like the
You're like,
big
ugh.
majority of them still cliche, but yeah, yeah, there's new type
Yes.
of
There are
which is good.
new developing types of female characters in shoujo, and just like with the anime that I suggested you watch, Why Raeliana Ended Up at the Duke's Mansion, her character is very strong. She's snappy, she's kind of snarky, and I don't know how to explain this.
Okay. Oh,
She
yeah.
gives off main character energy,
Yeah.
but she's not that typical like, "Oh, I'm in an isekai. Oh, I'm surrounded by gorgeous men. Which one will I choose?" There's nothing like that. She's
Mhm.
very like, "Look, I'm gonna sign a contract with the Duke. We just gonna stick to this contract, and then maybe romance will unfold." But
Okay.
in her mind,
Straightforward.
she's thinking it's just strictly a contract. As episodes so far, spoiler to anyone who has not seen this yet, but so far out of the episodes that I have seen, she here lately is maybe developing feelings for him, but her character development is still not that cliche, to me at least. There are also a few other shoujos where the main character is not that cliche
Mhm.
as of lately. Now, back when we were growing up, a lot of the
Oof.
anime characters for shoujo and for some shonen were kind of, you see the same types
It was bad,
in a
in
lot of
my
different
opinion.
anime.
It was bad.
I mean, shonen female types are, in my opinion, can also be kind of cliche. I
Oh,
don't
they
know about
all
you.
cliche. Well, not all. That's a little dramatic, but no, those classic ones, very cliche, very the very cliche, like, that I really hate are the useless ones, and also, like, the "Save me" types, and I really cannot stand those. I mean, one of the basic ones everyone goes back to is, like, for instance, Sakura, right?
Mm,
If the story would have nearly been the same had they replaced her character with anybody else, you know what I mean?
right. I've got my own opinions with Sakura. I don't necessarily have an issue with her,
Yeah, same.
but I like
There's
Hinata
other
better.
characters. Oh, yeah, no, same for me. There are other animes that, oof, they just upset me so much. And surprisingly though, One
Mhm.
Piece, so this is going into like how like a lot of women are sort of, particularly find in shonen, they tend to be more for fan service. For instance, in One Piece, like the way
Mm,
they're drawn, I do not really care for that much. Their body
or the
proportions, I
way
mean,
that they're
granted,
dressed.
yeah, and granted, I mean, One Piece does have, like, an interesting art style, but I will say, I think a lot of people do actually like the female characters in One Piece, and I have to agree, I do like, for instance, Nico Robin. She's
Mhm.
actually, like, has good development and pretty well made out character, which I like, and I wish there were more characters like her in other shonen stories.
Mhm.
But granted, I mean, One Piece has been going on for so long, so, I mean, a lot of these characters had so much time to develop. So,
Right. I feel like they're, depending on the type of anime, the difference between shoujo and shonen is the character developments particularly.
Mhm.
Typically in a lot of shoujo, they do have some character development where it's like they're getting stronger, but typically other than a select few. I feel like their character development is okay, you worked hard to get the guy. Now you've got the guy. So now what? Is that
Mhm.
it? Like there's no personal.
Like, their whole personality was to get the guy.
Basically,
Yeah.
they worked hard to get the guy, now they have the guy, and
Yeah.
they're in happily ever at it's giving Cinderella,
Yeah.
very
And, like,
much
nothing much
Cinderella.
more. Yeah, there's not much more. Yeah, I agree, and particularly in shonen, usually females are there either for fan service or just, like, an extra sort of, like, romance aspect for, like,
Mhm.
one of the other characters, or they're kinda there and literally are just useless. Like, I don't understand why they're even there, which is the type of cliché character that I really hate, and one of the reasons why I prefer to have, like, a shonen cast mostly with men, because a lot of these characters just pretty bad. Although I feel like that is changing, there's more dynamic characters in the newer sorta series.
Mhm.
Another
Yeah,
one I actually like is Jujutsu Kaisen. I feel like they do have a good variety of female characters.
right. There are some anime where if it's the mahou shoujo type, where the main character is female, so for
Oh,
example,
yeah.
you have
Yeah.
Sailor Moon, Cardcaptor Sakura, and others, Tokyo Mew Mew. Those anime mostly consist of female characters,
Yeah.
and the character development has to be pristine almost in
Mhm.
order to keep people watching.
Oh,
So
yeah.
for Sailor Moon, each of the characters had their own episode to where you see their character develop a little bit more, which I really liked.
Oh,
It's not all about, okay, we're going to fight this bad guy. Great. Now we're good for a little bit. Oh no, another bad guy comes in. Great. We're not going to, like, each character had their own individual character development and then character developments as a whole group to where instead of them being individualized, they're individualized and their individual personalities come together in order to make one quote unquote perfect team.
uh-huh. I will say, like, you just mentioned Madoka Magica. They
Mhm.
have I mean, it's a full cast of basically females, and they're, young females, I believe they're in middle school, and
Mhm.
the story is based on their growth, but also basically their final demise and how they
Right.
save the world. But I feel like they wrote these characters really well, although it's not my type of it's kind of like a cutesy story, or supposedly just by the art, but it really isn't.
That story is really
No, it's
dark.
really dark. But the way they write these characters is well, you feel for them, like, you understand them, and I really like
Mhm.
it when they write these type of characters, versus people who are
Yeah.
useless, like, I don't know, and they're mostly female. I feel like people who've watched anime and you ask them, "What are some useless characters and stories that you could literally pull out?" Most of them would be female, you know what I mean?
Well, and I think that's because shonen anime is typically written, and I hate to say this, but it is typically written and geared towards males
Yeah.
rather than
Yes,
females.
it is.
So when females watch a shonen anime and you've got these very cliche female characters, you're like, what is this?
Yep.
Why is she so annoying?
Oh, yeah.
I honestly think it makes great content for social media to like poke fun
Oh,
at.
yeah, that's true. A lot of good discussions.
I cannot count how many videos I've seen of people making fun of Sakura from Naruto.
Mhm. Yep.
And I get it. I really do get it. I think it's hilarious. Am I going to jump on the Sakura hate train? Probably not. But let me put it this way, this is how I see Sakura. I see Sakura as one of those female characters who she worked hard to get where she is at,
Yeah.
all while chasing this guy who clearly don't want her,
Mhm.
only to show that persistence can work sometimes. I'm not suggesting people should go out
Mhm.
and be like Sakura and just keep being persistent. But in her case, it kind of worked because they ended up getting married and having a child.
Yeah.
So,
And the thing is, I do feel like I will give her character specifically, like, the benefit of the doubt because I do feel like she did have character development, but if we're getting into jumping on the hate train, ooh, girl, let me tell you, you know who is, in my personal opinion, the worst and most useless female character ever? Orihime from Bleach. I do not understand. First of all, I'm pretty sure she was made with the intention of obviously being fan service, and to be cute and like friendly, but she's literally useless. You can take her out of the story and it will be basically the same, if not better. And all she says is "Kuroseki-kun, Kuroseki-kun," like 5 billion times. Like, that is her own purpose. I'm pretty sure the voice actress, her script is just straight up "Kuroseki-kun," and there's, like, a few little lines in between, and that's it. She's there from the start of the story, and there is no
Mm,
character development with her till the end. Like, Sakura at least had some character development, and she became super strong, one of the
right.
strongest, and she can heal people, and you know what the thing I had the most problem with her character is? She had so much potential. Kubo could have made her such a really cool character, but no, he instead just said, "Keep her the same."
I want to see more character development out of Orihime.
Yeah, too late. It's too it ain't gonna happen. Maybe in the anime, maybe in the new Thousand Year Blood War, because
Yeah.
Kubo's adding stuff that he wasn't able to add in the manga, but I doubt that she will be on his
Mhm.
priority list.
I mean, even if she is, let's see what kind of character
Yeah.
development. There are some times where I forget she's in the show because I
Yeah.
remember Rukia is also in the
Yeah.
show, and Rukia has such a strong character development that kind of overpowers slash
Mhm.
overshadows
Yeah.
Orihime. You know, there were several episodes of Bleach where she came out, and I was like, oh yeah, she's still in the
Yeah.
show. And I hate to say that because there are a lot of shonen anime where you just have these kind of extra added female characters that, like you said, are either kind of there for fan service
Yeah.
or they're just kind of, I don't want to say they're just kind of there, but they're just kind of
They need more
there.
diversity.
But there are other shonen anime that, even though these female characters are there, they're not necessarily there for fan service. The female characters are getting more character
Mhm.
development, and that's a good
No, I
thing.
agree, I
That's what I
agree.
want to see. Want to see their backstories. I want to see these women basically show up and show
Oh,
out.
yeah.
Like, go out here, go kick butt. Let me see you fighting. Let me put it this way. Let me see you fighting up to par with all these other
Yeah, and I
guys.
also, a lot of characters are now written as more although maybe crazy, but they're more, like, powerful and stronger.
Yeah, and a lot of anime nowadays is doing that, and that's what I really
Yeah.
enjoy. But there's always the one anime in particular. For
Uh-huh.
me, I was like, y'all could just keep her. Kagome.
Oh, Kagome.
Every time. And I'm specifically talking about the first couple of
Mhm.
seasons. Her character development did take
Yeah.
off, which was good. But them first several seasons, until she figured out how to accurately use that bow and arrow, every single time Kagome got kidnapped, I'm like, leave
I mean,
her.
90% of the time she's basically like, "Inuyasha." Yeah, no, the thing is, I feel like Inuyasha, in my personal opinion, didn't have, like, super tough, like, strong females per se, but I feel like also during that time, like you said, they just have very similar female characters.
I feel like that's
Oh,
wrong
okay.
because you have Sango, who was out here kicking butt from the first episode that she was even
Yeah.
introduced in. Kagura, mind you, she's somewhat of a villain. She's out here fighting as well. Here's my thing. All of the female characters, regardless if they were villains or not, they were kicking butt more than
Oh,
Kagome was
yeah.
once again, until Kagome learned how to use that bow and arrow. But because Kagome is that main female
Mhm.
character in the story, once they picked up her character development and she actually started fighting back, she got better. But up until Kagome learned how to use that bow and arrow, her character development was weak.
Mhm.
The fact that Sango came out and Sango was fighting like a
Mhm.
boss, I was like, you go, Sango, show
How
Kagome
it's
what
done.
to do.
The thing is, I feel like Sango in the show itself, like, yeah, she was really bomb, but overall, as a female character, I still feel like Inuyasha needed much more tougher characters instead of getting kicked over by Inuyasha constantly, you know? I don't know.
Well,
Maybe they just needed better villains to
yes,
fight, I guess, I don't know.
Kagura was their main one that Naraku kept sending back,
Yeah,
female wise, that Naraku kept sending
but
back
she
and
kept,
forth
like,
to
losing,
them. And
like, as much as
she was losing on purpose. She was trying
yeah,
to
but it's just
escape.
like, "Girl, figure stuff out."
I will say this, I prefer the type of character developments in the female characters in both shoujo, not all shoujo, but in most shoujo and shonen now than I do back in the day. Because back in the day it was more
Oh, yes. Yep.
cliche-ish, I guess, compared to now it's very you feel more with
I
the
cannot agree with you
characters.
more. For real. I'm like shonen and shoujo, I feel like they have much more diverse type of women in their cast and also
Mhm.
just better and more useful.
Well, I think that's what anime needs is you need more diverse female
Mhm.
characters, not just well, just more diverse
Yep.
characters in general, not just female characters. You need more diverse characters in the anime. You can find that one character that you can relate to. For me, one of my favorite character developments, well, some of my favorite character developments, Yona from Yona of the
Mm.
Dawn.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Her character
That is a
development
good
was
one.
really good, but mind you, she's one of those characters that everything's been
Yeah.
taken from her. She has no choice but to now venture out on her own and do her own thing and then
Mhm.
become stronger. Those types of character developments is what I want to see a little bit more. I get the shoujo type, some of the shoujo type where depending on the main topic it's like the oh save me, I need to be
Mhm.
saved type, but huge
Yeah.
variety. What I want to see more is I want to feel more with the shoujo characters. And the only anime that I can say that is still number one on my list. I know you have not seen this yet, but the character development was amazing. The art style was amazing. Feeling with everything about this anime was on point, and that anime is Violet
Oh,
Evergarden.
I should see that one. I definitely should. That's on my list.
Please, 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 please. Violet Evergarden, the art style drew me in. That's the only reason I started to watch. And I'm not going to give too many spoilers because I know
Mhm.
you haven't seen it yet, but I want other people to, if they haven't seen it yet, go out and watch it, but make sure you got your tissue box with you. Violet Evergarden was really one of those anime that the character, you saw them at their weakest,
Mhm.
lowest point. You get Violet's backstory, you understand what happened with her, and then you see her struggle to almost get out of her own mindset in order to become this stronger person and go past grief. and try to live her everyday life. And that to me, those types of anime is the reason I typically, I don't want to say prioritize shoujo, but it's typically the reason I stick with shoujo. I want something that is gonna kind of pull at my heartstrings a little bit, and it's like, oh man, ugh, that hurts. But I'm glad to see this person's character development. I'm glad to see that this person can overcome this obstacle that she is facing. I'm glad to see that she is now getting the strength on her own without having to rely on anybody but herself. She might rely on her friends and her family and whoever is around her, but she's still kind of pushing herself to do
Mhm.
it on her own. And that's what I love about her story.
Yeah, I can see that. That's
It is good.
I need to see that. That's definitely on my, like, top list. That should be my next anime to watch.
I'm gonna need you to go see it. Please go watch it right now. Now, they have a lot of movies that are like that, like with A Silent Voice. I
Yes, I
don't know if
have.
you've seen that movie.
I actually read the manga. That was one of the few ones that I've read the manga first, like, way back when it was first coming out, and then I
Mhm.
saw that the anime came out, and it's really good. It's really cute.
It is really good, but whoo, the character development
Yeah, but I
takes
almost
you
feel
through the
like
ropes.
that story really is, in my personal opinion, more based on his story than it is hers.
It kinda
A
switches to
little bit, yeah,
hers
towards
a
the
little
end,
bit more
yeah.
towards the end. So it starts out with his, and that's what I like about it, is that it starts out with his, you get his side, and
Yeah.
then it kinda switches to her, and then you get her side, and then you're like
Yeah, and
bawling your
and
eyes
I
out by
love redemption
the
stories, so it's right up my alley.
I love
It's
that
really cute,
story
it's
so
really cute, and I really
much.
like oddly, I really like stories about bullies and their redemption, sort of, so honestly,
Mhm.
I highly recommend that to anybody because it's very cute.
Yeah, if you haven't seen A Silent Voice, it is on
Mhm,
Netflix. If you have Netflix, it
and
is
it's easy to
really
watch. I feel
good.
like it's also for anybody to really watch.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah,
But get your tissues ready.
a lot of them. You're gonna need a few boxes.
Yes, it's really good. So, I think honestly, shonen should probably start adding a little bit more backgrounds to their female characters, kind
Oh,
of like what
yeah.
Demon
The
Slayer
thing
is
is
doing. You
yeah,
learn their backstory, so you
in
feel for
shonen,
the
that just
characters
comes
a lot
later,
more.
that's the thing. I feel like the female characters, usually it happens later on, like, after a few arcs, and then they develop a little bit more because they're
Mhm.
like, "Oh, we're gonna continue the story. Let's flesh out these characters a little more."
Right.
But it really
Right.
depends.
Yeah, it really depends, but I see seems like it's happening a little bit more in a lot of the newer shonen compared to
Mhm.
what we grew up on. Especially for just going back to Inuyasha, now that I'm thinking about it, it seemed like almost every single female character, with the exception of some villains, had a sad and or tragic backstory compared to Kagome. And I think that's another reason why I don't really
You're like,
feel
"You
for
had everything,
Kagome.
and yet you turned out like this?"
You know, she came from the future. She
Yeah.
fell in the well, and now she is stuck in feudal era Japan where there's all these monsters running around. But
But
she
yeah,
can
she
go
can go
back.
back.
That's like she can go back to present day, well, in her time present day Japan. She can go back and forth between feudal Japan and present day Japan. Meanwhile, you've got Sango, who lost her entire
Mhm.
village and her family. You've got Kagura, who's trying to escape the clutches of Naraku. You've got Kanna, who is kind of doing the same thing, I guess, but not straight out. And then you've got Din, the little girl that
Mhm.
follows Shishomaru around. Her family was killed. You've got these different female characters who kind of have tragic backstories, and then Kagome is just like
But I feel like I gotta give her the benefit of the doubt because she came from a different time. Honestly speaking, she's literally a regular high schooler.
she's
And
in
then now she's
yeah, high
thrown
school.
into like this whole other demon fighting world where everyone already, that's where they grew up. They grew up in this kind of messed up situation already, you know? So I'm like, I'm giving her a little bit of benefit of the doubt. Like she just got thrown in there and she gotta, work a little harder while everyone's already like, well, this is just how life is, where she's like, this is not how my life is
No.
back home,
No. She can go back. She can go back at any point in time. It would be a whole different
Yeah.
story if she was stuck there. And the only way for her to get back to present day Japan or to get back to her time is if
Yeah.
she collected all the jewel shards. Like, if that's the case, then yeah, I would give her the benefit of the doubt. But she can go back. Now, at first, she could not go back. She can go back. Kagome can go
Yeah,
back
but I feel like
at
that
any
that
point
makes
in
it even
time.
more so she chooses to continue to do this, you know?
There
Yeah.
are days she goes back, though, when she's like, oh, I need a rest from all this
Yeah.
fighting. I'm going to go back to
And she
present
gotta live a
day and
double
go to
life. Like, I
school
gotta
and
give her that
live a
too.
peaceful
She's living a
life.
double life where everyone else is kinda like, "Well, we're living just in this world," you know? Granted, yes, she's still I mean, she's just literally a regular high school girl. Yeah.
She's living a double life, but she can go
Yeah.
back to her regular life. Like, think about this. There would be no Inuyasha story if Kagome was like, you know what? As soon as that whale gets fixed and I can go back, I'm not coming back here. Think of it. Like, if she decided not to come back, if her grandfather
Well, yeah.
sealed the well to where she couldn't go back and Inuyasha couldn't come through, there would be no Inuyasha story. Either way it goes, Kagome is not getting any sort of benefit of the doubt from me. If she did, she's only getting a sliver because everyone else in her story had more of a tragic background, and here she is somehow accidentally ends up in their world, breaks the sacred jewel into who Lord
Yeah.
knows how many pieces, only to be able to go back
Mhm.
when she wants to, when she feels like it. I mean, yeah, I get it. She's like, look, I am responsible for breaking the jewel. So I'm going to help you guys find the jewel shards so we can put it back together and then your world will be saved. Mind you, she could be like, that's not my problem. See you
I
guys.
mean, yeah,
Sorry.
technically she could.
See you guys. The story would be over. I was in Kagome's position. I
Honestly,
might do that
yeah.
if I knew what I was
I
signing up
mean, it's
for.
not my world. Goodbye.
We're gonna have a
Ooh.
sit down discussion
Oh, I'm
on
down.
some shoujo anime. I think
Tokyo Mew Mew.
you need to go ahead and sit down. No, I think you need to go ahead and sit
Oh, yeah,
down
no,
and
that's
watch
definitely I've watched
Violet
that. I'll watch that
Evergarden.
out of my free will.
I'm gonna need you to watch it because
No, I'm totally down.
are you really? All right, guys. I'm giving Mikan some homework. For next week's episode, I'm gonna need you to sit
Okay.
down and we're
All
gonna we're
right.
gonna
Well, I'm
we're gonna
I'm gonna
have a
watch Violet
discussion.
Evergarden. I will watch that. Mhm.
Yeah, you watch Violet Evergarden. Let me know. So, guys, you let us know who are some of your favorite women in anime. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Anime Sekai Podcast. And thank you guys so much for joining us on this episode. We hope you enjoyed it. We are trying something new with this episode. So if you like it, let us know. And if you want us to do a deeper dive on different types of women in anime, let us know. And we will see you guys next week. Mikan has homework, guys.
I'm on it.
So, if there's any other shoujo anime that Mikan should watch by next week's episode, let us know on our Anime Sekai Podcast Instagram page. And we will catch you
See you
guys
guys. Anything
next
except
week.
Tokyo Mew Mew. Thank you.
I might have to add that to the list now.
No.
All right, we'll catch you guys next week. Thanks for stopping by.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.